Hello everybody, Andrew Hutchings here, and this is an unusual video, although I do have one or two similar to it. I can't remember if I published this one video or not, where I talked about like going down layer by layer in your consciousness to reprogram things, and then you rebuild from the bottom. Yeah, it sounds weird and crazy and stuff, but yeah, you can do it. This video is about a different mental thing. Cool. And so I believe in lots of interesting mental stuff that we can do, certain states of mind we can achieve. Well, it's not that I believe in them. I mean, I believe that they're cool and useful. It's not a matter of belief whether or not you can do it and whether or not they exist. I've done them, they exist, I know that they exist. Some require chemical alteration, some do not. The one I'm about to describe does not, so that's pretty cool. You don't have to take anything to achieve it. I just thought today as I did it that, this would be a good YouTube video. So what it is, I'll call it dream thinking. And I can't promise you that because I tell you about it, you'll be able to achieve it. And I can't tell you a perfect method. But first, I want you to think about if you've ever been in a car or in a classroom and you start to fall asleep and you get in this state. And it's like you're falling, you're asleep. And you want to wake up, but you're stuck in that state. So that's not the state I'm talking about. But it seems related to it in a way. If you're a little bit, I can actually do it even if I've slept 12 hours, and I don't sleep 12 hours, but if I've slept 9.5 hours or 10 hours, which is the most I ever sleep, I can still do this. But you have to let your body relax into a certain groove. I did it in class today. So I sometimes do it in class, kind of on accident. But sometimes when I'm at home, I'll lay down on the couch and I'll just close my eyes and I'll think about something. I'll open my eyes and close them. It's I tend to want to think about the thing. And then as I am letting my level of consciousness decrease, and I don't like how it's called a level of consciousness. It is a level in the terms that it's a level like this, but it's not that you have less thinking. It's just that it's a deeper down part, level in the ranks of consciousness. And most people just don't know how to go through different levels. But yeah, I have to let myself relax, and as I start to kind of daydream at first, the thoughts start to become more abstract, and then I start to close my eyes, and I can start dreaming about what I was thinking about. And that may sound, who cares, just dreaming about what you're thinking about. Oh yeah, you're thinking about cars, now you have a dream driving a car. No, I don't mean that just the topic of the dream is similar to what you're thinking about. I mean, you actually get to work through your thoughts in the dream state of mind. And I think that's very useful. Now, a lot of people go, well, I didn't learn anything. It's you did. You just don't know how to decipher things. And I don't mean that you should consciously, at your top level of consciousness, think, in my dream I did this and this. What does it mean? I do actually do that. And you should do that. But there's most of it you don't do any conscious thinking about. You let your subconscious deal with it. And then your subconscious will find ways to send it to the higher levels, and you will figure things out. Because I didn't publish this video, but I had a video on sleep and why sleeping medications are harmful, and it's because they decrease brain activity. Most people know that not most people, a lot of people know that sleeping medications decrease REM sleep. What they don't realize is it's not that they decrease REM sleep. They decrease brain activity, which means you have less REM sleep. You're thinking all day and all night. It's just that we're at different levels of consciousness. I don't know why it's not often thought about or talked about, or like people know obviously that we have different levels of consciousness, but there's not enough focus on this. You do so much thinking in the levels that you can't even generally comprehend at your normal waking conscious level. But yeah, so like today, for example, I was in class. I didn't get bored. I was bored the whole time. Anatomy is pretty hard to like pay attention to. They're like, and this nerve goes like all the little tiny branches of it's like, this. It's one thing if you like did a little portion of it, and you do something else, little portion. But when it's hours and hours and hours, imagine if I just repeated a number 5, 7, 8, 9, 3, 8, 12, 11, 12, blah, 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 blah. Eventually you just start to zone out. You can't remember it all because you got to take it in little pieces. So when I start this, it's like it starts pretty quickly. But I start thinking about other things, and then I tend to. My body has like a conservation of energy mode where it's like if I know I can't absorb the information, it's just like, and I just start, or maybe I'm laying back a bit more, and it's like, but whereas generally I just like fall asleep. Today I entered into my dream thinking. I don't normally do it at school. I want to pay attention if I can, not dream think. I dream think at home on the couch, sometimes in the bed. But typically if I'm in bed, I go to sleep and have full sleeping and dreaming. So yeah, I can't tell you exactly how to achieve this, but it's a very cool state of mind where it's not like full-on dreaming, but it's stronger than it's like an intense version of daydreaming, but I don't know, maybe you haven't daydreamed. It's just very cool when you're able to like actually act out what you're thinking about and like have your brain create this, like dreaming, but at a level where you can just do it on demand. Like you don't have to go to actually go to sleep. It's not as forgetful. It's pretty much just dreaming, but I consider it a little bit different. Perhaps you think this video is ridiculous. I like this stuff. I don't remember if I published the other video, but like I kind of started to describe, this other state is much more difficult to explain because it's like if people dream, so they know about dreaming. Most people can't like sit down in a chair or lay down and start dreaming about specific things that they want to dream and like think about. But most people have never, while awake, gone down through different levels of the brain, and I can't describe it because it's not at this conscious level that we communicate on. So you like our words and everything are about this level of consciousness. Can't talk about deeper levels of consciousness, and also if you haven't gone into them, it's like you can't talk about color to a blind person, but it's pretty cool. Like you have to go one by one, like you could because you can't you can't go from like this level to this level because like, you just would not be able to comprehend it. You have to you go from this level, you translate what you're thinking about and stuff into the next level down and perceive it on a lower level of consciousness, and then you translate it into the next one down, and like your brain's thinking weird stuff, and it becomes like on an emotional level or like a react. It's not words. You're not thinking in words. And you just work your way down. And then you can address the problem. Let's just say like emotionally. Like how you feel and stuff. And I'm not just saying like connect with your emotions. It's different. I can't describe it. And then once you have, maybe you just want to analyze it. And then you come back out, but you have to if you just, like someone interrupts you, you're gonna not be able to consciously remember any of it. You have to work your way back up. Once you get down to the bottom, then you have to translate the bottom back up, because only the level like right above it can understand the level right below it. And I'm not saying that there's like discrete levels, it's just you have to like slowly work down and then slowly work up. But also, after you slowly work down, you could change something. Maybe it's not a good idea, maybe it's a good idea. I don't know. I've done it. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing that you go in and purposely change things deep in your brain. I thought it was a good thing when I did it. But after you change it, then you come back. I don't know actually if someone interrupts you right after you change it, if it probably just stays changed. I don't know, really. I'm not a master at this. I can do it, but it's not like I know everything about it. Yeah, it's funny how like nowadays we only want objective things that we can measure and put numbers to and stuff. People like to discount everything that you can't like put a number to, or like show on a scan or show on blood work. But there's so much more. I'm just looking at a gathering of people on the street far away. So yeah, dream thinking is cool. This going down programming is cool. I guess I'll just make this video about multiple states of mind. So I'll toss in there, I don't even know what to call it. But you've likely heard of lucid dreaming, where you can realize that you're dreaming and you can do whatever you want. Now, I don't know if this is an inevitable stage that comes after that, or if it's just how I ended up. But I used to lucid dream. I mean, I still do lucid dream from time to time, like a couple times a month. But I don't try to lucid dream anymore because I just got bored of it. Like, I didn't want to keep lucid dreaming. I just wanted to like sleep normal. But for me, I could never like go back completely. Like after who knows? Maybe I even did this before I consciously like realized it. But I reached a stage where it's like I always know that I'm dreaming, and I finally like fully realized it. Like I had thought it for quite a while, but especially in the last couple months, like when I'm in my dreams and like first I'll be running and I'll reach the end of a building that's like really tall, and I'll be like, shit, I'll die if I jump off here. And then I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter because I'm dreaming, I'm not gonna die. And I jump off. Or, who knows, maybe someone corners me in a room and they're trying to kill me, and I'm just like, well, I guess I can just go, like, I'm like, it's a dream, so I'll just go through the wall. Sometimes I'm like, it's a dream, so let's try some new moves on somebody. But it's just funny how I've come to the realization that I pretty much always know that I'm dreaming. Perhaps everybody always knows it. I don't know. But it's an interesting thing once you get to this point, because then it's very connected, but it's not exactly the same thing. So once you get to this point where you're like always kind of conscious when you're asleep, and you always realize you're dreaming, you can take, like lucid dreaming, you take things into your own hands, but this is like a different, it may sound the same as lucid dreaming, but it's not, I promise you. Like I've lucid dreamed and I've done this stuff. I would call this actually programming yourself. I don't know how that will sound to you, but I use it to program myself. I don't really want to say exactly what programming I do, but you can decide that, like, you know, I would like to improve at this, or I would like to change these habits, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And when you reach this state of always being semi-conscious in your dreams, you, like, it's hard to fully explain, because you're not, like, well, I'm not, like, always thinking about what I want to do in my dreams, but like I can decide, like today I'll decide, I want to start behaving more like this, and I start doing it in my dreams and practicing it. Now, of course, you could just behave differently in real life, but there's certain things you can't do in normal life because there's issues with it, or there's just stuff you can do and practice in your dreams that you're not going to practice just in the real world. And it's very valuable, I think, when you can do this practice, this training, this programming, whatever you might call it, and whatever you might actually do with it in your dreams. And of course, it does rely on your own brain to create the situation, so it's not completely real, it's just what your brain predicts would happen. You can create a whole scenario and work through it over and over and over. And it's really cool because, normally you would have to think about something like what you're gonna do, but if you can, it's not lucid dreaming. It's a little bit different because lucid dreaming, you would I like when you leave don't have such a high level of consciousness, because I like to let my lower levels go through things. But yeah, you can create a whole scenario and work through it, work through it, work through it. I haven't thought of this, but I guess you could say you want to practice surgery. You could decide to do that while you're sleeping. And you could, of course, once again, it's about your brain predicting the situation so that in real life something could happen that you didn't predict and never dreamed about. But it's really cool stuff. I guess it's a bit of a shame that most people don't explore their minds so much. They're missing out on a lot. I don't know, maybe you think this is crazy. It's not crazy. I mean, it's fact that a lot more goes on in our brain than this top level of consciousness that we're always using. I think it's very useful for behavior modification, for practicing things that you can't practice in normal life. It's fun. I decided recently that in situations where I'm gonna die, I need to if I would die in real life, I can't let myself do it in my dreams anymore because I want to get more out of my dreams. Gotta think of a different way to work through that situation. Who knows, maybe you'll practice Spanish in your dreams. I don't do that nowadays. It actually a different mindset. When I was younger and I took Spanish class at night, when I was kind of asleep, I entered this mindset where all the Spanish from every day just repeated in my head. Our brains are capable of a lot of really cool stuff. I encourage you to explore your mind. There's a good chance you'll find out about some mindset that I don't know about. I don't know all about all the possibilities of the brain. I just find it really cool, and it is real. Just because you can't measure it doesn't mean it's not happening. And just because you try and maybe you fail doesn't mean I didn't do it. But I'm pretty sure that if you practice, you'll be able to do this. Lucid dreaming is a great example, and that's a good starting point. You should lucid dream because that will teach you a lot about your brain, and then you can try to enter different levels of consciousness. I personally don't like full-on lucid dreaming because I find that it kind of defeats the purpose of being asleep. I mean, of course, when you're lucid dreaming, you're never fully awake. Your brain doesn't work the same as when you're awake. But I like having lower levels, where I'm just barely lucid, but I'm lucid. It's I'm only lucid enough to initiate a certain something. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is fun and all, but I don't care for having such a similar mindset as when I'm awake, but in my dreams. But it's a great starting point. The only issue that you may run into is that if your level of consciousness becomes too high, you will wake up. because I mean that's the nature of the highest state of consciousness, is that you're awake, not asleep. I hope you like this video. Check out my other videos. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Check out my website, andrewhutchings.org, where you can hire me for training, for diet, for supplement, consultations, plans, coaching, whatever you want to call it. And I cannot give medical advice because I don't have a medical license, but it's not medical advice if I don't tell you to do it. It's just medical information, and I can give you lots of good medical information. I also have a book on tendinitis. It's an objective book. It's called A Systematic Guide to Defeating Tendinitis. If you have tendinitis, I would get it ASAP on Amazon. Find the fastest shipping, get it as soon as you can. And I've got an Instagram, natural_true_fitness. It's a long video, but it's cool stuff. I hope you liked it. Sorry that it's very non-objective to talk about, and I can't describe a lot of it, and it's not like I can say you gotta do this. It's hopefully you'll find a way to explore your mind, and you do not need drugs. Drugs can alter your mind, but you can alter your mind without drugs. I'm not saying don't do drugs, I'm not saying do drugs, but I'm saying that you don't need them.